Hello, good morning and welcome. Hello, good morning and welcome. I'll repeat myself. Hello, good morning and welcome because of the time lag on Facebook Live. I don't know if there's anybody there yet. I'm just about to throw something at the laptop to wake it up. Today is Facebook Live, just me, block of the month stuff. Okay. So hello, good morning. Anybody there yet? Oh, yeah. Hello, Hilary. Good morning. That's it. I would never remember which way to swipe on this. Swipe left. There we go. Hello, Hilary. Oh, there's 12 of you. Hang on. Let's see if the laptop's behaving this morning before I start. Morning, Hilary. Morning, Karen. There I am. Good morning, Rosemary. Good morning, Jackie. Good morning, Mandy and Maureen. Hello, everybody. And it's a lovely sunny morning in Wales today. It was very froggy earlier. It's just lifting now. Mr. Skirrel has been round to say hello. I had to laugh when somebody asked what a skirrel was. Good morning, Lish. Who else is there? Let's look up there. I'll be able to see you easier. Kim and Moya. Hello, Moya. Hi, Lish. Hello, everybody. Hello, Jan. If you're watching on Tube, fast forward 5 minutes, then I'll have stopped saying hello to everyone. Borodarian, Shemai. Thanks for your order. I have packed it. It's ready for the postie tomorrow. Good morning, Janet. So finally, and it's before Christmas just, I've done the patterns for the block of the month. Who have I missed? Anybody? Who's that? Jane, Rosemary, grey and rainy here. Yeah, it was rainy here last night. Who's that? Shona, Audrey. So hello, everybody. Fiona, hi. Yeah, it's beautifully sunny here today. It's quite chilly. There's some amazing spider webs around this morning. But the mist is just lifting and it looks like it's going to be sunny. So Simon this weekend has been banned to the kitchen. He's eating his breakfast, so I won't have to go out and shout oi at him to shut up. So he's going to be making a noise later. So after I've finished, it's chill and yucky. Where is it? It's dull and yucky. Oh, it's a change. Normally it's nice. I bet when the mist lifts, Kim, it'll be nice there. Normally is in Gloucester. It's always better in Gloucester, as my younger daughter's always telling me the weather's better there. Hello, Audrey. So, block of the month pattern is done. Finally, 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 and it's like it's a big missive. So, I tortured Jessica on Tuesday with folding it. I think we worked out that there were I've printed 750 pieces of paper. So if you come to looking for block of the month stuff and it says out of stock, it's just because I need to print more. So don't panic. You can message me or you can wait and it'll come back in stock. I couldn't print any more because I was waiting for Amazon to deliver some more ink, which didn't come till last night. So I printed up 25 patterns, but they're to cover the kits as well. So when you get your destructions, hang on, I'll stand up so I can get a bit nearer the camera. When you get your destruction, there'll be like a main, that's the main pattern, which will give you your general destructions, as in how I do my applique and how to finish it off. And then I've tried to put all the blocks together in their own little bits. So like the Dresden, I think the Dresden and something's together because the template, hang on, let's go through, what should I put in there? So the Dresden, oh yeah, the Dresden and the heart block are folded together because the template for the tumbler, which you need, which goes underneath the Dresden, was written on with the heart template. So I thought you might get confused and not know where to find it. So the Dresden and the heart block are together, and then the home block's got its own thing. And then the other home, the welcome home's got its own thing with its templates and whatever. Then there's the vase of flowers one, and then the scrappy one. So you've got, morning Mrs. Tosh, you've got all them. If you haven't got my acrylic templates, all the templates are drawn out in the pattern, okay? So you can trace them onto some card or something. I will do a couple of tube videos as well when I get a chance. I'll try and do a couple next week. It's lovely in Cornwall, says Janet. Yeah, I should imagine it. You tend to have the same weather as us. So there's 25, I think 25 pages, there might be more. Anyway, it's 20 quid for the block of the month pattern. Now, when I look back on when I used to do all the Australian blocks of the month, there used to be at least, there'd be 6 or 12 blocks, and there'd be £10 a month for a pattern that was like a couple of pages, like Lynette's patterns, and plus postage. So I think 20 quid is a pretty good price. It should really be more. So if you want the pattern on its own, you can get the pattern on its own. If you want a kit, a lot of you already got the 3. So when I made this, I used the Kim DL fabrics, and I just used a charm pack, a candy bar, and a mini charm to make it. And a lot of you have bought the trio of the Kim DL, so you can just get the pattern if you want. And the borders I used on that is just Macawa linen texture. So the first border, the yellow linen texture, and the binding is a dark red. If you order the kit, you will get obviously the pattern. You will get the trio of 3 pre-cuts. You'll get a metre of linen, which is a bit more than you need, but I'm going on the basis that if you do an oops and like me and go wrong, at least you've got an extra 1/4 of a metre of linen. And then you've got your border fabrics. So you will need to get, all you'll need is your backing fabric. So it's about a metre, just less than a metre square when finished. Have I written here what the size is? It's 30, I said get 42 by 45 backing, which is to allow for when you're quilting it. Obviously you need your backing bigger than your actual quilt. Right, so that's the Kim DL version. If you want to do the Wild Orchid version, obviously you'll get the trio of pre-cuts and you'll get the linen. The only difference is going to be, so for the border, so I've put in that for the border, the first border, and I've put that for the binding because I thought the darker binding would be the best, and it's quite pretty fabric, it's got little flowers on it. So I put that in for the binding. If you bought the pre-cuts last week, so we've got the pre-cuts of fat 8s, there's more than enough in there. If you want to make the quilt bigger, if you've bought that, or if you've bought the fat quarter box, you'll have plenty in there. I've been busy making stuff this week, so you could see what the Wild Orchid fabrics look like when they're made up. So if I stand up, this is the quilt that I showed you the photo of the other day. So this is I made this with Andy's making me some more big boys. So these are big boy templates. So it's quite, I can't fit it in the camera, it's quite big. So a fat 8 pack will make that. So I use the offcuts off the end of the fabric for mine. Can you hear me all right, by the way? And I've put a nice fleece on the back of it and on the front. So I've just made a great big panel of big boys, and I've appliqued it on top of this fleece. And I've used, okay, I'm going to go round and round in circles, so I've got so much to say, I can't get it all out. So Baldani sent me some sewing thread to try. So you know that nice, hang on, let me grab this heart because I can show you. The thread is this colour, the I remember which way it is. I think it's the 303. So that colour, but in a sewing thread. So I've used that to stitch this. So I've got some on order, so it should be here in a couple of weeks. And I've used that to applique all around the edges, to applique, to buttonhole stitch on my big boys. The fabric that I've used on the back, I've put it on the website under plain fabrics, I think it's under, and it's, you know, like minky. It feels like minky, except it's flat. It's not got the knobbly bits that the minky normally has, and it's really cozy. This quilt weighs a ton, so I'll show you it on the bolt. Hang on. I'm deviating from block of the month for a minute, but it's this. It frays like hell, like the minky does, But all I did, it's 60 wide, so I just left it folded in half like that. I put the big boys on top, and then I just put binding around the edge of it. So I used 1.25 meters of this, left it folded like that, and then I pinned it all down well, and then I just stitched all the binding around the edge, which I thought was the easiest way of doing it. But so I'm deviating from the subject now. Let's go back to block of the month. This was just to show you what this block of the month would look like in these fabrics. So they're very similar tones of fabric. The only difference being you've got more pink in this and there's not any reds in it. Okay, so the orders I've had today, most people are going for this fabric. Obviously, if you want, like I've done it, go for the Kim DL fabric. Right, let me try and catch up with your comments. I've missed all your comments now. So if you've got any questions, I'll look afterwards. Thank you, Hilary. Thank you. Everyone has said it's gorgeous. Yeah, so it's nice and warm and cozy, especially with that fabric. The other thing to show you, if you didn't see last week, that's the bag I made using the wild orchid last week. So you can get the bag with the bag pattern and the panel if you want to make that, and that's just a mini charm. But what I might try and do is make some kits for next weekend when it's Three Amigos weekend, because I haven't got anything else unless new fabric turns up, which I don't think it will before next weekend. What I can show you is, so one of the blocks in the block of the month is the Crossroads template, which is this. I don't know if you can see that. So I was busy making Crossroads templates yesterday because I'm going to take them on when I do Hobbycraft. So I was making a load out of the wild orchid. So I started doing these yesterday. So it just gives you an idea of what that block will look like in those. So that block is this one down here. So that's the Crossroads block in the bottom corner here. There. So those, again, very similar tones of fabric to what I've used on that there. This home cushion was done in the Memory Lane fabrics. That's just to give you another idea. If you want to go more floral, summery fabrics, you can do that. There's still, what's left in that? I don't think I've got any charm packs left in that. There's not a lot of that fabric left, but if you've got one of those charm packs stashed away, you've got quite a lot to get you going with that. And there's a few fat quarter packs left, but that's it in those colorways. Good morning, whoever's saying good morning to me. Hang on a minute. Mandy and Joe's only just got here. Please, can you show the quilt pattern? Okay, right. Let's reverse up. I haven't got to rush so much today. We'll show the quilt pattern again. Where have I put it now? She says, you know what I'm like? I bury everything, and now I can't find it. There we go. So should we start again? So the quilt pattern. This is the quilt pattern, okay? So in your main pattern, I've put how to finish it off, sort of joining the blocks, instructions is in there, and then just a guide on before starting an applique, and you've seen that backwards, so that really doesn't help, does it? Unless you can read backwards. Cutting and piecing and finishing and stitchery, and how I do the applique in that, and then there's the usual stitch guide, and what else is in there, and how to do the binding. So that's the main pattern, and then I've put the blocks, tried to put the blocks together. As I say, I've got Jess and Artie came up to fold fabrics while Artie watched and Jess folded. So each block will be folded together, okay? So that's the scrappy block. If you're doing it in Welsh, there's English and Welsh versions in them. There's traceable templates. Obviously, you can buy the pre-printed panels. So there's English or Welsh pre-printed panels. If you're buying the kit, obviously these will be in the kit. But if you want a Welsh version, you need to tell me you want the Welsh version. So that's what Rianne told me this morning. So she'll be getting the Welsh version. So there's the home, there's the vase of flowers, and then there's welcome. Obviously, you can just buy these separately yourself. if you just want to do them separately and you want to make a few cushions, you don't have to do the block of the month. So that's the scrappy block. Again, all the templates, they're based on my acrylic templates, but you'll get traceable templates. So you don't have to have the acrylic templates. So don't panic, Mr. Mannering. The heart block and the Dresden block are in the same pack because you need to make, like, between them here, there's tumbler blocks, and you need the tumbler template, which is drawn on with the heart template. So I didn't want you sort of thinking, oh, I haven't got that template. It's in with that. There is the vase of flowers block. The crossroads block is just one bit of paper on its own. Again, if you get stuck on any of the templates, go to Tube. There'll be demos on. There's demos on how to do the crossroads block, how to do hexy flowers, how to do everything. So the house block, you've got hexy flowers on the house block, or you can do yo-yos. So I've put in here, I've put all the sizes of all the hexy flowers. So you can, if you want to put hexy flowers in your border, you can. And I've also put yo-yo templates if you don't want to make hexy flowers, okay? If you're making the teeny tiny hexy flowers like I did on here, the 3/4 inch ones, I suggest that when you're making them, get your glue pen and stick down your leaves with a glue pen before you take it to the sewing machine. Makes it a heck of a lot easier. So that's the welcome block. And then there's the home block. And then above the home block and in the four corners of the quilt, you've got 4-inch Easy Star blocks. So if you've got the 4 and the 8-inch Easy Star templates, make your 4-inch ones. Otherwise, there's loads of pictures in here on how to make your Easy Stars, okay? And again, there's a demo somewhere on Tube on how to do Easy Stars. The borders are just, I put a bit of applique in. I could have put a lot more in, but as usual, I was making it in a rush. What I would say to you is use this as a guide and make your own version. You don't have to make it like that. I know the elf is making it and she's going to make it for a tabletop. So she will put her blocks together differently. If I made it again, I would probably put them crossroads blocks in 4 different corners and make more tumbler templates or something. Just use it as a guide and make something different if you want. Obviously you might need a bit more fabric. If excuse me, if you're making the Kim DL, all I've got left of Kim DL is I've got the trio of pre-cuts left, and I've literally got 1/2 meter of every fabric in Kim DL left. If you want some more fabric, message me with a photo of the fabric you want, so I can do you a long quarter, or if you need it or something. So if you want some extra, if you want to put some extra borders on or something. Good morning, whoever's saying good morning. Patricia, Mandy, Joe, I've seen you. Yeah, I've seen you. So yeah, so that's the pattern. As I say, there's 25 pages or so in there of that pattern, and the pattern's £20, okay? So it should be more. It roughly works out £1 a sheet nowadays when you work out how much the printer ink. I've spent a fortune on printer ink. They seem to have developed, I got a new printer, and the more they develop the printers, the more ink they seem to surprisingly use. That's a funny thing, isn't it? Whereas my old printer that I kept going for nearly 10 years, that finally gave up the ghosts, I could print thousands and thousands of bits of paper before it gave up on the ink, but now no. What does Lish say? Must have taken ages to do the pattern. Yeah, it did. Took ages to print it. Hi Abby, how are you? So that's the pattern. As you've only just joined in, Joe, this is, oh, she says standing on her bag, to give you an idea of what the quilt would look like, what the new fabrics look like. So the Wild Orchid, I made the big boy quilt. So there's some big boy templates coming. There's downloadable templates for this size. If you go on my website, on downloads, there's a big boy pin cushion pattern. So that will give you a template if you want to have a quick go and see how you go. While I'm at it, I'll show you what else I've made. yesterday. So I made that's a big boy bowl. So I've made a load of those, again in the wild orchid. And when we do the retreat in October, I said I'd do the boxes, and I haven't made any for ages, so I made one to remind myself how to make them. So this is a hexy slap wrist Eunice for being late. This is it's the big, it's a 4-inch hexagon just made into a box. They're really simple and quick to make. Didn't take me long at all. And when I originally did it, I did it all by hand. And the only hand sewing I've done is to sew the bottom onto it. So that's my big boy box. Hang on, let's open the button so you can see inside. So it's nice to fussy cut a big print. And then you can I put the pink one on the inside and then the purple one on the top. And I've machine stitched it. So the pattern tells you to hand stitch it, but I've machine stitched it like with an 1/8 of an inch seam on the outside, and it fitted just right. So if you want to have a go at making a box, if you're coming to Coventry in October, you can make some boxes with me. If you don't want to make boxes, we can do anything you want to do. So bring your kits with you. Good morning. Do you ever sleep? Not very well, actually, no. So rabbiting on about big boys, some of you might not know what I mean. These are big boys. Somebody, I had to laugh. Andy put a picture on his Facebook page of big boys, and somebody, I had to ask him what a big boy was. I had to stop myself. Or what do you do with a big boy? Now you can imagine what the answer in my head was, but I didn't dare write it down. So big boys, and there's a big boy bag to carry your big boys in. So there's patterns for all those are on the website. Any questions about the block of the month? I'm not doing it like traditionally. When we used to do blocks of the month, I used to cut bits of fabric every month and post them every month. And it was an absolute nightmare. And it cost you a fortune because postage now is ridiculous. I went to buy a stamp the other day, and I think it was like nearly £2 for a stamp, for a first class stamp. I was horrified because normally I do it all online, so you don't really notice. So yeah, so I'm not doing it like that. And as I say, a lot of you have already got the trio of pre-cuts, so you've got your fabric. You just get your pattern. You can buy the linen separately, you can buy your borders and binding separately, or you can buy a nice big box. So here's a nice big box. This is how your kit will come if you buy the kit. What have I put in this one? I don't know, what have I put? Yeah, this is a Kim DL one. So there's your trio of pre-cuts in there. Very well. There's your pattern, and then you've got your panels in there. Bashing my microphone here. You've got all your panels, and your borders and your metre of linen. Now, if you missed me saying earlier, I worked out you needed about 3/4 of a metre of linen. If you're like me, you're going to cut something wrong and you won't have enough. And I always seem to have problems getting hold of the linen, so I'll put a metre in. Okay, so that's what you will get in your box. So there's two choices. If you want to buy a kit, there's either a Kim DL or there's the Wild Orchid. Who's that? Some big boy's leaving us tomorrow. Oh, thanks, Joe. You've been busy polishing. Is it sunny up are you in Norfolk, or you further up? You're in the caravan. Is the caravan in Norfolk still? Can't remember where it is. Somewhere on the East Coast. It's lovely and sunny here, though. If it's raining there, ha ha. It's beautiful here. Who's late? Who else needs a slap wrist? Bronwyn. I'll start giving you penalties for being late. So that's the kit. I've not put many on the website. If it says out of stock, just message me or just look back in a few days, because once I've sold the ones that I've put on there, then I'll put some more down, because I wasn't sure how much fabric I had of the linen and of the borders. So the Wild Orchid, I've got that much fabric left that I've used on the border and binding. Once that goes, we'll have to use something different. Okay. Right, what else can I show you? yeah, to those of you who are late, if you've already got that, if you bought that Wild Orchid Fat 8-pack last weekend, you've got plenty of fabric in there to do. You'll do the big boy quilt probably, and no, you won't do both. If you've got the fat quarter box, you'll do the big boy quilt and the block of the month quilt. Is the French General coming soon? Well, who knows? How long is a piece of string, Kim? I've no idea. It's supposed to be coming. I think it's out in America in October, November, so we'll probably get it just before Christmas. It'd be too late to post it by the time it comes. What's that say? Pouring with rain in Northamptonshire. So yeah, it's probably not sunny in Norfolk today. What does Joe say? We're in Skeggy and dry in Lincolnshire. Right, what else was I going to say? Oh yeah, I made up the last lot of kits for the sewing folder with hatched and patch fabrics. So the last lot of kits has got charm packs instead of candy bars. So you're just cutting off strips. It's no different to having 2 candy bars. 1 charm pack is 2 candy bars. You've just got to cut your 1 1/4, what's it? Yeah, 1 1/4 inch strips off your candy bar. And the new kits have also got the thread in as well. So they're a bit more expensive just to take into account. I put the Valdani thread in them. So I think there were 5 charm packs left. So there's 5 kits that have got the thread and have got charm packs in. And there's a slightly different lining. You've got a pretty, the original one had a spotty lining and the new ones have got a pretty florally Three Sisters lining in. So they are done. Where in Coventry is the retreat? Do you need to look? Oh, the retreat is fully booked, Sue, I believe. You need to, Handy Andy is the king of retreats, or Joe is the queen of retreats. Check with Andy, but I'm pretty sure it's full. But check with Andy and Joe will comment here if there happens to be a last minute space. You can ask to go on a reserve list. So the retreat in Coventry, I can see in my head where it is. I couldn't tell you exactly, and I can't remember the name of the place now. Joe, what's the name of the place? Or Andy, whoever's there. I can't remember. I know where it is because it's opposite where the elf was staying up there a few months ago, and it was opposite where she was staying. It's the Britannia. If you look for Britannia hotels and look for the Coventry one, you'll see a picture of it. And it is, I think we're going on the 19th of October, Sunday to Thursday. But I'm pretty sure it's full, but you never know. There might have been a last minute dropout or whatever, or you can go on the reserve list. And the next one after that will be back down in Basingstoke. Other than that, they're a lot further north than you. The next lot I can't do. And Newcastle and Scotland. But anyway, yeah, ask Handy Andy or Joe, and they will let you know. Okay. I finished this last night. See, Lish finished hers the other day, and I finished mine last night. So I've done my rose one. I haven't done any more heart templates recently because I haven't had a chance to draw any because I've been doing the block of month. What's that? Royal Court Hotel. It's still full, but Andy will add your name to reserve list. So did you see that, Sue? Andy will put you on a reserve list if you're interested, because it's not far from you, is it? There we go. What else did I finish this week? Oh, I did more hearts. So I did these. So I've sewn more of these up. So I've still got, I suddenly realised I've sold out of one of these nearly and panicked and ordered some more. So that's the stitching one. And then I've done that one as well. So I'm going to do these when I go on Hobbycraft Telly at the end of November. I'm going to do these as a pack of 3. Order them from me though. The prices for Hobbycraft will have to be more because we have to contribute towards the postage, and obviously they take their cut. They want their like practically 50% cut, so I'd make a loss otherwise. So if you want the hearts, I've got these. This one I'd nearly run out of, so I panicked messaging Imogen on Friday. Oh, help, I'm running out of these, can you get me some more? So hopefully she said she can do some next week. Royal Court Hotel. Oh yeah, we've seen that. Okay, Sue, so that's sorted you. So if you get in touch with Handy Andy, and then we'll let you know if somebody has to drop out. So today we have got I haven't got a maths question, but I have a prize draw, and I've done an autumnal one because we're nearly finished with autumn. It's going to be winter. Blinking, it'll be winter because I went to Greece in the summer and I came home and it was autumn. So I've done an autumnal bag. So in your autumnal bag, you've got a pack of autumnal coloured felts. You've got a little bit of linen. I think that's a fat quarter of linen. A foxy charm pack, a foxy mini charm pack, and two little foxy buttons. Hang on, let's get them out. Two little foxy buttons. So anybody who orders from yesterday until Monday night will go into the prize draw. So that's this week's prize draw. Last week's maths question was really close. There was about 5 of you really close. Love the rose heart. Thank you. Right. What else was I going to show? I was going to show you because I was going to do a demo on Tube. I've done one before. On Big Boy, I'm making Big Boy bowls. So as I say, if you download the Big Boy pincushion pattern, you'll have all the templates for the big boys until you can get your hands on a proper template if you want to have a go. So the difference between a Big Boy bowl and a Big Boy pincushion is you just stuff the hexagon that's in the bottom there. So put some stuffing in that, and then you can have a pincushion inside your bowl. So making the bowl, I did a demo. Well, let's do a Big Boy first. Let's do making a Big Boy. So when I first did them, I used to do 2 pieces of fabric, which you do if you're making the bowl, and then turn them inside out, which means you're wasting one of the fabrics because when you fold it over, you're not going to see it. So that's why I always used to do it in calico. But now I got sent that lovely thread from Valdani. I decided to just do 1 piece of fabric. So I've used the yellow out of the wild orchid for that one. I've traced my hexie. So this is a 3.5 inch hexie and the 3.5 inch flower that goes with it. And I've put some wadding on the back. I've put him in the middle, and all you do is fold that over. I don't even bother pinning them, and use the buttonhole stitch on your machine. So I've got a Juki. So if you click on the buttonhole stitch button and then change the length and the width of your stitches to 3, I found that was the right size for doing that. And then you just stitch that all round, and that will make you can see the thread a bit more there actually. That will make your Big Boy. When you join them together, again, I just did it on machine. I do it in rows, and you just join, like, do an 1/8 of an inch seam. So just put them wrong sides together, so the seams are on the right sides together. So the seams are on the back. Hang on, the computer's gone off. And do an 1/8 of an inch seam when you're joining them together, and they go together quite easily, I find. If you're making a bowl, you want to put some, so your outer fabric, fuse some wadding to your outer fabric, but you trace your Big Boy, but your traced line is your stitching line, so you need to add on 1/4 of an inch, and then you've got another fabric for the lining. You stitch all around your flower and you leave a hole, you cut a hole in the lining fabric so you can turn it right sides out, and then when you turn it right sides out, you're going to put the hexie on top. So obviously the hexie will cover the hole, and then when you make the hexies, you put the hexies again. I've used 2 nice bits of fabric on here, but just use the bit that's going to go on the bottom. Just use a bit of fabric you don't like, or a bit of calico, or a bit of plain, and again you just slash a hole in that, but you're not going to see that because that's going to go there. And to make the bowl sides, all you do is get this, fold it, and then put it under your machine like that, and you can see where you've top stitched that hexie down. Put that under your sewing machine at that angle, and then just stitch a straight line from the corner of your hexie up to the edge, and that will make your bowl sides. And the bag handles are, as I make bag handles all the time, two bits or one bit of fabric folded in half and stitched together, and then fold it in half again, but leaving those bits on either end so you can sew them on the side of your bowl to finish it off. These are real well handy. I've got one on the side of my armchair which gets filled with all offcuts of thread when I'm sitting manically stitching at night. If you missed earlier also, what have I buried those now? I've lost my blinking crossroads that I did earlier. There they are, the crossroads one. So the crossroads that are on the block of the month in the bottom corner there. This is it. If you do it in wild orchid, this just gives you an idea of what they'd look like. So I'm gradually working my way through a charm pack. I'm going to sew a whole charm pack together of these and make it into a table runner. But I'm not going to use the big print on it. I'm going to keep the big print whole and put a big print in between one of these. That's a general idea anyway. Have I missed any questions? Thank you, Rosin. How could you miss the retreat, Sue? It must have been when you were on in the summer we were talking about it, which it was, and you were probably down sunning it on the beach down here and you missed us. But yeah, if you want to be on, and if anybody wants to come on a retreat, just get in contact with Andy if you want to get put on a reserve list, because I think Basingstoke is full as well. And I think they're taking names. If you're interested in going up north to Scotland or Newcastle, they'll be taking names for those. But I think they've got a lot already. So speak to the King of Retreats or the Queen of Retreats, Andy and Joe. So are there any questions on the block of the months? If you get stuck, just message me. The thread I've used again on mine, on the Kim DL one, and if I was doing it on the Wild Orchid again, it's that Valdani S303, I believe it is. One's S303 and one's S301, so I think that one's the S301. I think the more summery colours, and these are the darker colours, pastel-y colours, that was the word I was looking for. So those are the threads I've used on mine. Last weekend I did some bags. There's a few bags left from last weekend that were on special offer. So if you wanted to do the Christmas hearts, I think there's a couple of bags of the Christmas hearts left, and they've got the Valdani Christmas thread in them. So the Christmas hearts, hang on, look, I've got a stand of hearts here. Here you go. Christmas hearts. So that's not a Christmas heart, that's daffodils. So Christmas hearts, so you've got the 3 Christmas hearts in the bag. So you've got the snowmans, the holly and the ivy, and the poinsettia, and then 3 different Macawa fabrics to go on the back, and you've got Christmas buttons as well in the Christmas bag. And then I did an autumn bag which had about 5 different panels in, and I've put all my autumn stuffs in the house now. But there's autumn fabric, autumn Valdani, Mr. Foxy buttons, and Mr. Skirrel stitchery panels in there. So there's still a few of those, and they're on special offer. I think we've sold out of these now. Hang on, there might be one of these left. Liz showed you a picture of hers the other day. I need to put a zip in the top of mine. I haven't put a zip in yet. We'll have to all take them to the retreat, Lish. So that's that. If you wanted to make the bag, I'll try and get some kits done for this for next weekend. But if you've got the summer, I think it's called Summer Garden pattern, that's all the pattern is. It's just a base. All it is you stitch your panel and you put squares around it. So this panel is, I think it's 8.5 by 10.5. So you want 4 squares down there and 5 squares up there. It's as easy as that when you trim it down. So if you just want to use 2.5-inch squares with a panel, just make sure you cut it down to an even size. So 8.5 by 10.5 or 12.5 by 8.5, etc., etc. So are there any questions before I go and have a cup of coffee? Oh, that reminds me, that one. That was the latest panel, if you missed that last weekend, the gardening lady, and that's Kim DL fabrics on that one. So there's loads. I cut the last of the Kim DL last week, and that's the last of the mini charms, but there are plenty of those in stock. If you wanted those to go around your hearts, I think, yeah, I think that's about it. What else have I got to tell? No, I think that's all I need to tell you about. So yeah, block of the month patterns ready. If it's any of the kits or the patterns are showing out of stock, just message me, and I'll let you know when I've done some more. It's just finding time to print them because it takes forever and fold them. Um, um, so yeah, that's it really, I think. And if you want a Welsh one, just put in the comments. When you're ordering stuff, there's a box. When you get to checkout, there's a box where you can add comments. So say you're buying a pair of scissors and you want the pink pair, just put the comment in there. Or if you're buying a block of the month quilt, or if you want me to post it a week later because you're on holiday or something, put a comment in there. Who's this comment? How many strands of thread do you use on the Christmas hearts? One. You don't strand perlé thread. Perlé thread is one strand of thread. You don't you don't split it, and you don't stitch with more than one thread because it would be far too thick. So just one. If you're using stranded embroidery thread, use 2 or 3 strands. It's entirely up to you, but you can't split the perlé thread, and you don't join it. You wouldn't get it through the needle. It'd be too thick. Chenille needles are back in stock if you want chenille. If you're stitching with shiny thread, sparkly thread, use the chenille needles. After you sew, hang on, what's this? After you sew the button on the back, do you sew the thread down to make it hang as well? Do you sew the thread down to make it hang as well? So when I put that, if you're talking about the heart, Sue, I usually use a piece of tape or something, and then I stitch it on the top there. Where's one that I put? Hang on, these ones I haven't put anything on the back of it. Where's the Christmassy ones gone? Hang on, let's grab a Christmassy one. So when I did the Christmassy ones, so I've stitched the rickrack in the top there, and then I've put a button over the back of the rickrack on the back. I haven't bothered on these yet because I've only just stitched them, and I'm not putting, these are the buttons I'm going to put in the kits when I do them for, I keep wanting to call it create and craft, whatever it's called, hobbycraft. I'm just going to put the charms in, so I'm not going to put a button in to go on the back, but I would, if it was just for me, I'd put a button on the back as well. So they're going to have different coloured, they're going to have some of this nice wild orchid on the back for their set of stitcheries. Hopefully that's answered. Thank you very much. Obsessed with Valdani, I know. And now they're doing the sewing thread as well. The sewing thread is I mean, I've definitely tested it because I've manically sewn all these big boys together with that thread. It didn't split or anything. And I didn't do it on my Bernina, I just did it on my Juki. And then I used the Bernina when I was sewing it on top of this because this is really heavy. There's no wadding in here. It's just that that new what would you call it? It's like a fleece, but it's really heavy, cross between fleece and minky. So you don't need to put wadding in it because then you really wouldn't be able to move it. So yeah, that's that. So have a lovely Sunday. The mist is just about to the top of the hill now. I can nearly see Ponteverum now. So yeah, thank you for watching. I look forward to seeing all your block of the months as you do them, and I will try and do some tubes. So if there's anything you're particularly stuck on, all the techniques are on tube somewhere in a video, but I'll update them. So yeah, thanks for joining me again. I'm desperate need for coffee now. My voice is going. So yeah, I will see you. So next Sunday is Three Amigos. I think it's starting at 9. I'll be on at 9:30, I think, but I'll confirm in the week because Andy and Abby are going to be in Doncaster at a quilt show. So I think they're going to start at 9 because the show opens at 9:30. So I'll be on at 9:30ish, and I think they'll be on at 9. And any queries about retreats, speak to Andy or Joe. Give them a message this weekend before they go away again. And if you want to go on a reserve list, ask Andy or Joe again, and then you might be lucky. So yeah, thanks very much for watching. Happy Sunday. Speak to you soon. If there's any questions, just message me or put in the comments here and I'll go through later. Okay. All right then. Thanks a lot. Bye. Bye.